It was amazing. Then from there we said, come quickly, Jesus said. We walked over to another room. It was massive. It was like a nursery. And there were thousands upon thousands of people lined up. And it was like they had bassinets on wheels. And they were rolling them up to like a window, a doorway window sort of a thing. A wall with like holes in the wall. And all of a sudden, I was looking and Jesus said, come look. And immediately through this window in this wall, this angel. And all I can say, I believe they were angels. Because they look like us. They look like humans. But they're different to humans. They're different. They're not human. But they are servants. They are bond slaves. They are servants. But I want to challenge you. Are you a bond slave? Because we are called to be bond slaves. Because Jesus Christ is your kinsman redeemer. But here are these angels. And they were big, but they had wings on their back. But yet they were in human format. And many of them were men. They looked like men. But there was the odd one, but not many, that looked like female format. But all I do know, I never saw many female images of angels, of female looking. But dominantly all were males in their look and their image. But yet immediately, a baby just came through, and it was a perfectly born 9-month-old child came through. And immediately this angel embraced this child in his arms and immediately placed his hands upon the angel and prayed a blessing over this child in the name of God the Father. And immediately embraced the child and put it in this portable bassinet, put it in, covered the child, and then pushed it away. And then the next one, it was just like a massive, like Joburg, M1 highway, man, on Monday morning. That's what it was like. It was just 6 lanes, man, and constantly going. And I said to the Lord, I said, Jesus, where are all these babies coming from? Who are they? And Jesus said, let me show you who they are and where they come from. And immediately we put our head through the hole in the wall. And it was like a beam of light coming down to earth. And immediately we looked into one room. And there was an operational theatre. And there was a young woman on an operational table. And there were doctors and nurses in that room. And all of a sudden we could hear a cry of a child. It was a fetus, a young baby, unborn baby in the woman's womb. And the baby was yelling and screaming and crying out. And the baby was saying, have mercy upon me. I'm alive. Don't do this. Let me live. Let me live. Have mercy upon me. And all of a sudden, we heard the screams of this child being ripped apart inside the mother's womb and pulled out of the mother's womb and placed in a plastic bag and ready to be thrown away. The young woman was having an abortion. Well, glorious to God. God, by His Spirit, picked up that child's spirit, pulled it into heaven. That child, when it came through into heaven, it had a perfectly formed, healthy body, full 9-month-old baby. And the child was taken care of in the nursery in heaven. Then we looked through another tunnel. I said, Lord, where's the other one? There we looked down in Africa. And I think somewhere in Sudan or in Ethiopia, somewhere like that it looked like. And all of a sudden we saw mothers with their children. And they were weeping and crying, and you could hear this child gasping for breath. And we looked at this child, and this child was dying of starvation. The child was basically a skeleton, dying, no food, no nothing. And the child died in the mother's arms, and the mother wept and sobbed. And all of a sudden, the hand of God came and embraced that dead child and took it into heaven. And that child had a perfectly formed, developed body, and the angels embraced it and put it in a bassinet and took it off. And then we looked through another wall, another hole, and there we saw a Christian family and non-Christian families. There was a child, and the child died at cot death. The child died. The parents came in and found the child dead. And they were weeping and sobbing. The Spirit of God was there. God embraced that cot death child and took it into heaven, and that child is alive. I want to encourage you, if you've lost a child in the womb, if you've lost a child in cot death, if you've had an abortion, I want to say to you that your child is not lost. Your child is alive and well. And I want to declare to you that your child is waiting for you in eternity. And your child is not lost, but rather your child will be with you for eternity. Amen. So rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord. For the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. Blessed be his name. But your child is waiting for you. Your child knows what's going on. Your child knows everything that you are doing in the faith on earth, and is cheering for you, and is being taken care of by your family line in heaven. They are not abandoned. They are not alone, but they are alive. Oh, glory. And there were different age brackets in the nursery. There were newborns. Then there were another room, there were millions of toddlers, little children, 2-year-old, little kids running around and playing, and they're all being supervised. Then there were teenagers, right up to teenage years. And I remember just seeing an embracing time where a young child God said, let me show you. And he showed me a picture of what had happened. A young lady had been raped and abused, and she fell pregnant. Long story short, her parents were not Christian. She wasn't a Christian. She was told to have an abortion. She had an abortion. She scarred her life, and she never knew what had happened. Anyway, she met the Lord, and she gave her life to Jesus and repented from that abortion. She lived her life and got married and was a Christian woman and had many children and a blessed time on earth. But she always wondered what would happen to that aborted child. Well, her husband and herself got killed in a motor car accident. They came into heaven. And when they came through into heaven, that child that was aborted was waiting for them. The child knew its mother, but it also recognized his mother's new husband. And there was an embracement, and that child was put together in that family unit for eternity. And what I'm trying to say here is, if you've lost a child, that child's not lost. You will spend eternity with that child forever. Glory to Jesus.